Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Talking Horses. Greg Wolf and Andy Serling as we kick off a 9-race card, our holiday weekend, a 4-day weekend, racing it here tomorrow as well.
Yeah, we look forward to it. Back with Monday action, which we haven't had a holiday show for quite some time, have we?
No, there aren't that many. People don't really, like a lot of tracks that used to run on President's Day are not running actually on President's Day. And I think over time, people have realized, you see this in sports, like you see it in baseball. There are a lot of, like the holidays, baseball teams don't want to actually play on the holidays. People don't realize, like, they're family days. People, I think in the winter, I think there are barbecues going on though in President's
No better
Day.
time to spend time with the family than at a sporting event.
But I'm telling you, when they ask a lot of baseball teams, like for the days they don't want to play, a lot of teams request to not be a team that play. You'll see less games probably on like a Memorial Day or July 4th than you used to. But we'll be here, and we're looking forward to it. But we have 9 to talk about today. I saw Greg and I disagree through much of the day, which always makes it for a much more lively conversation. We'll head over to NYRA Bets, or do you want to talk about? Yeah, we'll talk about it afterward.
Okay.
I'll talk about the Risen Star for a second. But match 200, NYRABets.com. Use the promo code, and we will match for $200 of your initial deposit. My favorite slate of the day, the middle pick 4, races 2, 3, and 6 on our 9-race card today. 2 days
So
in a row.
race 3 is the middle.
Yes, 2 days in the middle.
There's only one middle.
Only middle. That's the middle. We found the middle in the beginning. We've had 2 days in a row where only one person did the pick 6. Cross country pick 5, 7, 8 here. The Sunland Oaks, and then race 8 at Oakland, and the Sunland Derby. All those races will be on America's Day at the Races. The Sunland Park Derby included. What else do we have, guys? We've got track stats. Head over to NYRA Bets. Check out the track stats. I believe they're updated every week.
What do they say about Joel Rosario?
Right now, probably not a lot. He rode at Fairgrounds yesterday in the dark, right? I hope he didn't get lost in the dark.
Yeah.
Looked a little chilly there.
Wet, cold, and dark.
Yes, but an interesting race. And it's funny, what do we got? 3 to 6:30 on the show? Is that us next, the show? Oh, no, we got a 5,000 hit and split. Late pick 3, Aqueduct and Or.
What?
Well, no, it's 2,500 each. You can play either or both, right? Yes, you don't
For the
have to
pick
play
3.
them both. Pick 3. Late pick 3.
Okay.
What's the late pick 3? Oh, I've got a horse I like in one of those races. It'll be right. The 7th race, not an easy race here. Of course, that was the only race where there's a scratch that's not re-entered either tomorrow or Friday, and that horse was my top pick. So the one sort of lone scratch. 11% win bonus. Greg explained to me that New York is the 11th state.
Because I believe Sarah Bodwee explained it to me. Do you know the 10th and 12th states?
I don't. Delaware, one of them?
I'm not sure.
I think Delaware's. I know that if they have a racetrack in Hawaii, it would be really good because they were the 49th or 50th state. So that would be good. And last but not least, we seem to have lost graphics for a minute. FS2, 3 to 6:30 today, covering the races. The Risen Star. I was impressed. I was not sold on that horse. I want him to do well. You know, I want him to do well for Chad Brown, but I wasn't sold on that horse.
What
was wrong.
what was there not to be sold on, though?
I thought that people were overrating his performance in the Remsen. I think he
Okay.
ran badly because he closed. But it was a pretty quick pace that day, and the jockey did a good job of saving ground. So I didn't want to, and he didn't finish. I didn't love the way he didn't finish it up, but he was terrific yesterday. Got a great ride from Tyler, too, didn't he?
And it might turn out being a pretty good horse that he got by.
Yeah, I agree. Already is a good horse.
Yeah. Yeah, it was but you know, again, and you say this a lot. It's tough to tell that kind of track, but who's to say we're not going to get a wet, sloppy track like that on Derby Day? We may.
Well, right, that's good for him.
Yeah, it's just it makes it more difficult to try and decipher these performances.
Well, the other thing is, I know he broke his maiden on a dry track, but now he's had 2 straight wet tracks. You really want the bluegrass because that's where apparently he's going next. You want it to be you want all these races to be on dry tracks, but you want a dry track because at some point you do want to know, maybe he's a horse that really likes a wet track.
That's why we need domes in horse racing.
Oh yeah, domes, good idea. Yeah, we're going to build one actually. We're going to build one. We're not going to be here that many more years, but Greg and I are going to build a dome. We're taking it upon ourselves to do that. But I agree. I don't think the second horse ran better. And you know, with the disappointment of Fierceness and with Nysos not being able to run in the Derby, there's a fair argument that right now he's probably the favorite.
Yeah, off that. Yeah.
I mean, here's a question for you.
I don't know if there is one, but yeah, he's up there.
Isn't Fierceness still have to be considered, if not the favorite, one of the favorites?
No question.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think you want to write him off on one bad race, though he was bad.
Everyone wrote him off off
Right.
one bad performance before, and look what happened.
Well, the problem is he's now at I mean, he didn't have a bad trip in the Holy Bull. He had a little pebble tossed in his path, and he didn't. So he's now 0 for 2 when things haven't gone perfectly for him. But he's been pretty good in the 2 when things went well. The Derby's not a race, though. You want a horse that needs everything to go right for.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say his Breeders' Cup Juvenile, it was so good. I don't know if anything really had to go that right. I mean, as long as he gets a clear path and doesn't, that's saying a lot in a 20-horse field in the Kentucky Derby. But first start of his 3-year-old season, I'm inclined to say I'm not that worried. Let's say there's still that talent there. Maybe
I'm worried. I want to know when we see him again. I know they're saying they're going to the Florida Derby. I hope we do. We want to see the good horses run. I agree with you. He might be the best horse in this crop, but I also, that was a bad race. In a lot of ways, that was a lot worse than the Champagne. At least the Champagne was a wet track. He got squeezed a little bit early. I mean, this race, he was atrocious. That, and just like John Velasquez said, when I asked him, he had absolutely nothing. And he'd been training well going to the race. So I don't understand it. That's the thing that concerns me more. But you're right. He's still got a race that's better than anybody but Nysos has ever run.
Yeah.
And Nysos not going to be allowed to run in the Derby, so it doesn't really matter what he does.
That's why the Belmont Stakes at Saratoga becomes so intriguing.
We'll see him in the Belmont. We'll see what happens. Listen, the more good horses, the merrier. Race number 1, we are not trying to beat this horse. I wanted to show, you want to pronounce this horse's name?
I think it's Eusebius.
Okay, Eusebius, because I actually thought, this is his lone dirt start, he had some trouble in this race, Greg. He was in a little bit of traffic.
There's just,
Pink
go
Silks.
ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I was trying to hack some because I've got a frog in my throat. He had to fight a little bit to get between horses, and as you remember, Greg, I think the 6th or 7th place finisher in this race came back and won the other day.
Yeah, at Oaklawn, who somehow went off at 5-1 in that race.
2 idiots here didn't bet him.
City of Light, let's not forget, had a couple of wins at 1 1/8. The Dam, 96 buyer at 1 mile, was a multiple stakes winner. Second Dam was a multiple grade 1 winner at 1 1/16, 1 1/8. More ground's probably going to help this horse. And going 5.5 to run as well as this horse did, it's going to get better going longer.
I think this horse is, I mean, he's not going to be the 2-1 second choice. The entry's not going to be favored over him. He's going to be a heavy favorite. City of Light, here's a question for you. When City of Light's 2 1/8 wins, who did he beat? And why is it relevant?
City of Lights, so he won the Oaklawn handicap.
Who was second? The horse of the year, Accelerate.
Really?
And Accelerate was also nowhere in the sloppy Pegasus, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right? If he had won the Forgo, I think he might have been horse
One
of the
day
year.
I singled him in a pick 5.
Probably the worst
Whitmore
ride
beat him, right?
that IRAD has given in a grade 1 stake
7 wide.
in his entire career. Really, right. He was out in the middle of the racetrack. Whitmore scooted up the inside. Literally, I think it might be the worst ride that IRAD's ever given in a grade 1 on City of Light.
Yeah.
And I don't think it was the worst ride of all time, but I think he just thought, I'm on such a best horse, I want to stay out of
He
trouble.
was so much the best, but couldn't
Very
pull that
good
off.
horse. I agree. And the thing about the entry is, and we've got the 1A second, they aren't exactly the most compelling bunch.
They're not. I thought there was a little bit of intrigue, though, with Unique Insight in terms of him being, there's not a ton of pace in this race. There's a chance. He showed some speed in that race.
Isn't Eusebius supposed to be in front?
Maybe. We'll see.
Crazy if he's not in front of here.
But I think he can relax from that outside post, even if he's not in front. Track in second, and with the Lasix, maybe finish a little bit better. A gun runner who I think, not all these Chad Brown horses have to win first time out, second time out. Some are going to take a little bit of time, just by law of averages. And I thought this horse did show some talent in that race.
I wasn't impressed. I hope he runs better. I think, like, if Eusebius shows up.
Way though, yeah.
Race number 2. Race number 2, we have a differing opinion here. Talk about Anna's Wish. You have on top, and I have third.
Okay, I thought this was a very difficult race. Anna's Wish for me, one of a couple for George Weaver in this spot. This horse, to me, that was a legitimate, solid bump this horse took. She took out of the gate last time out. And I think she actually can be a little bit more forward than she has been in the past. I know one of those was going around a ground, but also she's been on the lead sprinting in the past.
She should be sitting second here.
Yeah. Low Society actually jumped up and ran a huge race that day. I know it was not that effective in the Ruthless.
She finished the Ruthless yet?
was
She rode a gold rail
long
that
way
day, and
back
this
in
horse
the
did
Ruthless.
sit outside of her.
Major drop down Buyer-wise, yeah, in the Ruthless. But the fact that she even went on to that race, that's how good she ran that day. And I think being more forward in here, we're going to see an improved performance from her. I just had a hard time looking at her in Progeny, saying Progeny is going to turn the tables.
Oh, I mean, I think she's the horse to beat. She's a 2-to-1 morning line favorite. I don't have a problem with her. Antenna and Progeny. I am not a Progeny fan. I think Antenna's the better horse. And I know Antenna got a very good ride. This is 2 back when Antenna beat Progeny, and it's also 2 back for Progeny. They're okay. I'm not a big fan of this bunch, and that's the reason I didn't mind giving my horse Bustin' Time a second chance. I actually think that Bustin' Time, I picked this horse last time and I bet him, and I actually think, and I know it was just 9 days ago, I actually think he ran extremely well in there. That was a race that just completely and totally fell apart, and I'm not so sure being down the inside did him any real favors in there. But that was a wicked pace. He went off and just jumped off the lead, but then Manny Franco gunned after him, and that was a blistering pace, early pace for that kind of horse. And I just think she got completely consumed. Now, she might be running against better horses here. I'm not going to be shocked if she's ultimately just not good enough. But I know that she's supposed to be in front of these horses, and I thought her last race was better than it looks, and I want to give her one more chance.
I know I don't have her in my top 4, but I agree with everything you said. I think she's dangerous, and she's going to be in front, I believe, as well. I would use no one in here. It feels like a field to me that's going to take turns beating each other.
That's why I never had a problem hitting the 5, because I agree with you completely. I think the 1, 2, and 6 can all win this race, but I don't think any of them are. I don't think any of them are that good that I'm not supposed to give my 5 horse another chance.
Yeah.
I want to give her one more chance for Robbie, so we'll see what happens. And one of the Davis is actually riding her. Race number 3. I tried to be brave. You were braver than me here.
Was I?
You had a 4th pick on the website. There's nobody scratching this race. You had a 4th pick on the website.
2574 for me.
Yeah, I was sure of that. So we'll look at Cheeky 2's last race. Greg, I tried to pick against Cheeky 2. I really did. At the end of the day, I could not find a single horse that I would bet my money on against Cheeky 2. And I'm not going to pick against a favorite unless I'm willing to bet some money on somebody else. And there was just nobody here.
Tico.
Tico, excuse me. Was there a horse Cheeky 2? I think there was a
Maybe.
Cheeky 2. Because I kept calling it that.
But I
It was
love his
Cheeky
name,
Tico.
so I had to correct. Look, this horse is coming back in 8 days. I don't love that. The last 3 times he's faced Union Lights, he's finished behind him. I don't like that.
Who was training Union Lights at that time? Well, I mean, to be fair, the Union Lights did run a big figure for Edward Jones last time.
I'm concerned. None of these horses win much, so that's obviously a concern. To me, I look at Union Lights and that race 2 back, that sprint. This horse is not a sprinter. I completely throw that race out.
Union Lights' last race, that figure, I have trouble believing that figure. I just don't see it. I just don't
Still, that
see
group
it.
was so much tougher than what he's going to deal
I
with
agree.
here, right?
I agree. He ran well last time. His last race is good. I don't trust him to run it back. Where is it in the rest of his PPs? Well, I guess there are races that are close.
I felt like, and Thoroughgraph Wise too had, I think, 5 of the last 8 races this horse has run, and take out that sprint, 5 of the last 7, all quicker than just about anybody in this
I've got
field.
him second, so I don't disagree with you. He can win. I thought Cheeky 2 would win. I'm not his biggest fan either.
I
though.
thought there's a chance this horse doesn't get out of the gate well. There's a chance the 6 is in front in here, isn't there?
Not on Time Form US. And Time Form US is 2, 5, and 7, all faster, but I suppose as the champion, one time he was faster than these. Is he still faster? Ruben Silvera is an aggressive rider. What happens if the 6 is in front?
Feels like a race to me. Like if someone can get to the front and take it to this group, there's not a ton of heart in here.
I wish the 6 still had some form. There was a time the 6 of Midnight Worker was
Yeah.
a better horse than these. That time seems to have passed. Street Cop Officer, getting a little bit of a look from you. I was assured by somebody who was involved with the horse that he would win last time.
Assured.
On Twitter, and then people are never wrong on Twitter.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few excuses from this horse. I liked some of those Finger Lakes races from this horse. Granted, that was not, even though it's allowance races, they're not the toughest competition. A a little bit of that, but more so some of these other horses I just felt like were not trustworthy at all, and I didn't love.
I agree with you. This is not a trustworthy field. I had thought Street Cop Officer might be a little interesting last time. I wish he had did some running. I just felt like Tiki 2's last 2 races are better than these horses. He drew on the outside, but I am not going to argue with anybody who wants to bet against him at a short price. Race number 4 this is the filly version of the first race, going 1 1/8 miles. I guess somebody's looking to qualify for the Gazelle out of this race. And I didn't have a replay for here. I got to tell you, you got heart, buddy. What do you like about Princess Vino?
Well, first of all, no one else.
No one here looks very good. I agree with you, but I just hate
Monarch,
this race.
obviously, a $250,000 daughter of Tappet, who wants more ground, is going to get it today, but didn't show me a lot in that debut. For Princess Vino, Dam had some talent. It was a 6-time winner from 6 furlongs to a mile. The second Dam actually ran a 101 buyer, a grade 3 placed. I know it was sprinting.
Well, she's a
so
half to a
carrying
grade 1 horse.
Starlight.
She's a half to Princess Violet, who's a grade 1 winner.
Okay.
This horse.
I look at her too, and just kind of this grinding style. I think she's going to appreciate more ground, and I have trust in Todd Pletcher, more so with Hot Candy, who, yeah, there could be upside, and that horse could move forward. I want the horse with experience and more of a base for him to say, 1 1/8 miles, this horse is going to move forward with a field with no stars.
Okay. I don't like this horse at all. I think that she's had her chances. She's been betting all of her races. She's met weak fields, and she's been bad time and time again.
She just has that style, too. She's going to keep running, to me, it looked like, looking at her races.
Okay, we disagree. I do not like this horse. I'm wrong a lot, so it's not a. I mean, Just Music is the horse to beat, right? I'm not going to bet her, but she's the horse to beat.
There's just so much sprint pedigree on the bottom side, isn't there? The Dam was a turf sprinter. Second Dam was a stakes-winning sprinter.
She's gotten okay at a mile. I mean, I don't think the distance has proven to be a big issue, has it? I mean, second Dam is a Tiz now. I mean, the first Dam's a Tiz now. It's an audible, so it's not an audible win yesterday at 6 furlongs. I like Monarch. I just think Monarch has a pedigree to go long. Monarch's coming out of a race where the figure might be much higher. The third place finisher came back and improved 17 points. I know Tiarella didn't run that well in yesterday's stake, yes, but I mean, I think that's one of those races that might be better than it looks. She was involved in the pace. I think she's going to be in front in here from start to finish, personally. It's a Tappet, supposed to like distance. I think Monarch is way the horse to beat in here against Just Music.
I will say this about Just Music, and ultimately that bottom side of the pedigree is what kind of turned me off. But that last start, Pin Up Betty, who was second in there, that's a filly who actually was second, beat a nose to Band of Gold, who won the Martha Washington.
Oh, that's right. Band of Gold. The winner was okay. She wired the field. I threw in the 4 Wake Up Lauren, who ran against some better horses. I don't know if she has any ability, but it does seem like Maker's Barn's going well, so I threw that horse in because of my lack of respect for others, because I want to bet against Just Music. You like Princess Vino. I do not. We'll see what happens in here. We have a difference of opinion. The early pick 5 closes out with the fifth, and late pick 5 starts with the 5th. And listen, I got a lot of chalky stuff going on in here, and I chalked it out with Lady Banker. At the end of the day, she was in a race where, it wasn't a very good race. But, I mean, the stumble was not bad at all. The stumbled start, it really didn't affect her negatively. She broke from the outside. I thought it was no big deal. She lost nothing, but these Linda Rice drop-downs just win, and there was nobody here I wanted to endorse.
Yeah, I wound up, I'm surprised you have this horse second, actually. I like Basiloquent for James Bond. Second off the bench, had every right to need that race. Look, these are not star horses.
No, I agree.
They might need a little bit of time to get going again. I actually really liked, for what it was, for a State Bred Maiden 40 race, I know that was meant for the grass and came off, but for what it was, I thought she showed some ability in that race. And she was getting in a little bit. She was still green in that race, but she showed some talent. And in terms of the races everybody's running here, Thoroughgraph had that number the fastest, really, of what anyone's done.
I think she's very dangerous. I could have picked her on top. I'm almost glad I didn't because you did. I'll let you have her. But I agree. She's the other one I want to use in here. And normally I don't cop out with the favorite and I'll put the price horse on top to do it. I agree. I think she's interesting. What about Army of Thoughts? We'll show her last race. And the one thing I want to say about Army of Thoughts, I don't really particularly like her in here. I thought I might like her a little more. If you look at her race 2 back, and she's obviously not that good, but as you said, who's really good in here? She really resisted taking kickback 2 back, and when they were aggressive with her in the sloppy track, she was fine. It wasn't the surface. It was probably getting kickback. And if you look at her races where she's been out in the clear, she's actually run well enough that she could win this race. And I think with her outside posted here, I don't want to say she's impossible just because she's coming out of a maiden claimer win.
Yeah, I mean, I have her third. And she's not just the fact that she's run decent on a wet track. She's run good on a fast track as well, relative to this group to be able to handle it. No one, again, yeah, there's no superstars in this field. I like the outside post for her. I agree with you. She's another player in here. Again, I have her third in this spot, but almost no one would surprise me in here. I could see several horses not showing up at all.
Rosemary Potatoes, who I at one time had a mad love affair for. I'm still working off the interest on the money I lost on her. And I think Proper Grammar would be a little tough to make in here, but I agree with you. No, there's no, because the thing is, the horses that are favored in here aren't very good, so it's not going to take a Herculean effort to beat them. See what happens in race number 5. We'll be back with the late pick 4.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.
Welcome back to Talking Horses. Race number 6. I'm interested in race number 6 a lot. I've been waiting for this race because I wanted to bet Irimon yesterday.
Okay.
Not sure. I still didn't want to bet him. I know he's going to a mile. You, on the other hand, have copped out. I copped out earlier. You're copping out with Christophe Clement here and Judge
Not just
Rules.
this race, the whole late pick 4.
Did you? A lot of copping out in the late pick 4? Luckily, I'm here.
We're looking at Irie, what are we doing?
No, we're looking at your horse.
Oh, this is Judge Rules. Okay.
He's the horse to beat. I'm not
This
knocking
horse
him.
actually showed some gears in this race. I know. Look, kind of a quick give up. I mean, this was the Dam was a Grade 1 winner at 7 furlongs.
She's a half to Princess Vino.
Okay.
She's throughout today's card.
And to off one race, I guess they knew what they had. Dropped in for State Bred, maiden 30, gets beat here at a very short price as a favorite. But I like the fact she did kick in late for the level. She showed ability against this group, and there's not a lot of ability in this race. I did not feel what people have shown to this point. I think today's the day for her.
She's the horse to beat. She's going to be a short price, and she's much the horse to beat. I'm not going to argue with that by any stretch. I wonder if Princess Violet, I wonder if Officer had any other Grade 1 wins. They always have horses. He was a funny horse. He came here for the Champagne from Baffert and jogged, but then he blew up. And I think he was in the Breeders' Cup that Johannesburg won.
Yeah.
Does that sound right?
Yeah, he was a huge favorite, I believe.
Yeah. I have a contract to bet Irimon. And this horse is both David Aragon and I liked last time and got caught for it wide against a Gold Rail in a race that I got busted wire the field. So this horse who had real trouble and sort of buried on the inside his first start, then caught wide against a Gold Rail. He's been on the opposite side of the bias in 2 straight races. I have to give him another chance. They scratched him at maiden special, but this is a mile. That was 6. That worries me a little bit. It's funny because watching his replay, I also watched the replay of Manny Penny. And I actually texted David Aragon and I said, you're not going to be able to resist. He loves Mary Alice Coffey. He is her biggest fan. Mm-hmm. And I said, you're not going to be able to resist this one. And he pretended to me that he was going to be able to resist this horse, but he didn't. He picked her on top. And the truth is, he's not really wrong because if you like Irie Man, which I do, you can't ignore Manny Penny because she actually finished ahead of him and she was wider and she broke a length slow. Or he did. So, I mean, he's not, and he's going to be a bigger price. So I just couldn't get away from Irie Man, but I think if you use him, you're supposed to use Manny Penny. I'm not against the one. but I think that both the 3 and 9 are possible alternatives. That's where I am.
Okay. I mean, how do you feel? But
Neptune Beach, I'll tell you, I have an opinion about Neptune Beach. And
Okay.
I'm not saying he can't win, because he can. I believe that figure for his maiden race in December 2nd is way too high.
Okay.
I think he might be closer to a 40 for him. Now, that doesn't mean he can't win, but horses are not running back to the figures out of that King Freud race. So that's why I didn't.
all right. I was going to ask the other half of the entry. Take away who you like. Is that the second or third most likeliest winner in the race?
No. See,
No?
that's one of the reasons I don't like the one.
Okay.
Because he's going to get a little extra money to him. Draw a line through his turf races, the figures he got in the turf races, and tell me you think he's much. I mean, in this field, he could be there. But he's run a 38, a 47, a 33, and a 34 Beyer in his 4 dirt races. So no.
We're in a 47.
Okay, he did. I agree. In an
Against better.
off-the-turf, sloppy race. I don't like him.
Okay.
I'm not, doesn't make me right. I'm not, I'm not going to.
Yeah.
I'm very, very annoyed that Jefferson Ocean scratched, though. The good news for him and you, Mike Beer, he is in, I think, on Friday. Because Mike picked this horse. And, I love Mike, and I have a lot of
Mike
respect
Beer.
for his opinion, yes. And he has some wacky ideas, which is fine. But I really wanted to see if there was anything to him liking this horse, because this horse seems insane.
I love his opinion, too, as well.
Mike's
He's been
one
on
of
our
my
show
favorite
a few
guys.
times, been a
Yes.
while. But
Love
yeah,
him.
I always look to see who he is.
No,
he is taking.
This is a wacky pick, and he doesn't. This is way off the reservation for him. So I was really, but he's entered. I saw he was entered. I think Friday. Maybe he's in tomorrow. I don't know. I knew he was in going forward. So
Mike, if you're listening, explain yourself.
he's not listening. He's sleeping, or he's doing something. He's not listening. I haven't talked to Mike in a while. I miss him. He's a great guy. All right, race number 7. Race number 7 is the race of the day, right? It's the most wide open. Now, I like gut feeling, which I hate. I knew the 11 would scratch because Mr. Phil is in tomorrow. That I know. Here's the replay of the horse you picked, Keystone Field. I can't forgive him for this loss. I know Santavo came back and won back and ran
Yeah.
well, proved his Beyer figure 5 points. Man, this was a little on the pathetic side, wasn't it?
It's brutal, and is dropping from 40 down to 16. And the start before that was 62,000 claiming, and he was actually running okay. So a horse who has been running in he ran a 102 Beyer at one time. He was in graded stakes races. He has fallen
One
down
time.
the cliff.
It's a year ago.
Yeah, I know. It's been a rapid decline for this horse. This was brutal. He's now 9 years old. That's the way he started off, or second start, I guess, of his 9-year-old campaign. What?
I was going to say it was a year ago. No, exactly a year ago he ran the Razorback. The week before that, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't trust this horse. I mean, I've got him somewhere in there. He can win. I don't know.
It's hard to trust off that.
And to be fair, the horse that beat him came back and beat better horses at a big price in his next start. So it's not though he lost to a horse that was totally random. So he can win, and so can Daddy Knows. And I love Daddy Knows. I'm starting to worry because he is a horse that's got his share of issues. He doesn't want to be inside of horses. He drifts out. And I'm just starting to wonder if his mojo's completely gone.
Another horse that looked like, this was going to be a really talented. It took a long time for him to get pretty good. And this is a 42nd start he's going to make. But he was getting really good. Even the beginning, summer last year, that November race, he's in the 90 Beyers. And then it's just dropped off a cliff.
I'm his biggest fan. I love this horse. And I got him
I
second.
like him too.
But I felt like there were two logicals, the horse you have first and second. And I thought there were two fuzzies, so I sort of mixed them. And the two fuzzies were Hold the Flight and Majestic Frontier. As far as Hold the Flight, okay, last time out he didn't run. He was out in the middle of the racetrack. He was never running. I don't know what went on. But I think if he runs back to his race 2 back, he's a big-time player in this race. Do you have him at all as a player if he runs his race 2 back? No?
Not particularly.
He's got back races that are good. I don't know if he's any good anymore, but he is dropping the lowest level he's been in. He's a horse who's won a lot. He's 7 for 29 lifetime, and I'll be honest with you, I like the 12. I wanted somebody else. I didn't want to put the 5 or 9 on top because I'm just concerned that their best racers are so far behind them. And Majestic Frontier, I actually thought his race 2 back at Finger Lakes was very good. He got a sloppy sealed track coming back last time. Maybe he just didn't.
It was
have
very
at
good.
all. What?
It was very good.
The race at Finger Lakes 2 back is very good. And he can win if he runs that effort. That's a finger.
But has he ever run that race before?
No, I agree. But he's run some races. I agree. I don't trust him either. But I look at that race, and he got a sloppy sealed track last time, and I want to use him a little bit. So I would probably use 4 and start out this pick 3 with the bonus, right? And if I can get the 1 or 2 home by some chance, it gives me a shot to make a little score, because isn't the favorite going to be very tough in the stake today? The Matty May?
Yes.
I just thought it was a
Singled
little
by
interesting.
most.
You know, and listen, I'm not going to be surprised if Majestic Frontier doesn't run well. I'm not going to be surprised if All the Flight doesn't run well. But let me, by the same token, they're going to be prices. I'm not going to be surprised when Keystone Feeling and or Daddy Knows just aren't effective anymore. Because maybe Keystone Fields was supposed to win last time. And now, I know he's claimed by Rudy, but he was Linda. Now he's just going to go, because Linda dropped
Possible.
last time. They're supposed to win when she drops. He was home free. And I got a bad feeling about him.
Yeah, Wesley Wardhorse.
Let's show his replay, Magisterial. Thank you.
Long time off, hasn't raced since June, and actually was kind of going in the right direction. If there was recency here, I would probably really like this horse.
I looked up some stats for Wesley. 6 to 12 month layoffs off a win. He's 2 for 10 with a 68 cent ROI. 0 for 2 at Naira. They were all sprints. He's not a guy who has great numbers off these long stats. 188 to 360 in the dirt. He's 7 for 35 and 0 for 3 in routes. I don't know. Who knows with Wesley? Runs by appointment only. What are these horses doing when they're not running for these extended period of time? Is there like a party circuit they're working?
Hanging
around
out
some
on that
field
farm,
somewhere?
working them out of the gate to make sure they break as sharp as possible.
I mean, what happens to all those 2-year-olds he runs earlier the year that we
I
never
know,
see again?
it's amazing.
Roaming
That's where he
around
makes
the
his
fields.
hay, right?
I mean, I was going to say he could have him at Ken Ramsey's farm, but I don't think he and Ken are sharing farms anymore. Though
No,
I thought
no.
So it's the Red Sox, they had some sort of deal on their thing. I think Wesley's a fascinating guy, to be honest. Because
I think he's one of the most fascinating trainers in the game.
Yeah, I mean, this is the one guy currently training that really changed the game in certain ways. I mean, what he did in Europe, and not only with his success going over there, but he changed the way a lot of people train their 2-year-olds because of going over there with the success he had. And there are a lot of very good trainers out there, but there aren't people that you can say had the demonstrative effect in the game that Wesley did.
No one was going to Royal Ascot trying to tackle these big races until he did it, had success, and now as a result, George Weaver went over there, won.
But also the European trainers started training their horses for speed more. It's not just that George went over and he opened the door for things like that, and you're absolutely right about it. But I think that when he went over there, a very smart friend of mine who's been getting a little attention lately, I joked to him, what was it, like 20 years ago? Can you believe Wesley Ward's going over to Ascot? He's going to get his butt kicked. And he said, no, he's not. He's going to do well. And he said, I don't think you understand. Wesley knows how to get speed into these horses, and he's going to go over there, and they're not going to know where he came from because he's going to be so far in front. And he was dead right about that. And they've had to adapt, I think, for those races because of the way Wesley trained, and also because other people from here came over there, right?
Yeah. I mean, he's arguably, I don't even know if it's an argument, the best at getting these young horses to show speed, break from the gate, open up, and be ready to go first time out.
And you may beat him sometimes, and then you think you're being smart, and then he blows you out of some race up in Saratoga with some horses 5 to 1. Race number 8, the Matty May, with 11% bonus. We'll take a look at the Franklin Square. I know Bernie Takes Charge stepped up to run a big figure in running second. I still don't want this horse to beat. I'm going to use a backup that's not my main squeeze, that's not Bernie Takes Charge, even though he's the second likeliest winner, because I think my main squeeze has a resume that says he's just a better horse.
I didn't
Or she
realize
is.
this.
She's just better.
David Aragona actually wrote it in his notes in the forum that this race makes her one of the fastest 3-year-old fillies in the country.
Well, this is 9 Beyer points faster than the Breeders' Cup. Well, Billy Fear of juvenile fillies. We talked about this yesterday with the Ruthless, that those horses are running figures that are the same. There's a lot. I'll tell you a horse who's under the radar. There's the Todd Pledger horse that broke its maiden year first time and beat this horse. I'm just blanking on the name, but Bankshot is Mark Hennig's. Is Bankshot? Mark Hennig's horse that ran second and came back with an 85 figure in Florida.
Okay.
Looks very good. Ways and Means has had a couple works, I think.
Any report?
I got a report in the workout report. I didn't
Okay.
ask. I think Chad Brown was
That's
probably more
exciting.
focused on
That's
yesterday.
very exciting to have that horse come
Yeah,
back.
but no, but yeah,
That performance, too, was 3-year-old debut, off a 2.5-month layoff. And there's an argument, too. She's probably better with more ground, right?
I don't see any problem with her at the distance, and she draws perfectly on the outside. I don't need to wax poetic. But
Lot to love.
So you've got my second choice, fourth, Money Grab. I just thought, obviously she's not winning if Miami Squeeze or Birdie Takes Charge run their races, but I felt like this horse didn't run that badly down in Laurel in the last start. Broke a little slow down the rail. The rail was okay though. I don't think there was a big problem with it. But I thought the maiden win was okay, and I just thought thought this horse might have a little room to improve for Horacio and might be my cold 10-6 exacta. Any ideas?
Yeah, look, I had liked her before. I liked her at this distance a little bit better, too. Obviously, the win came at a mile. The problem was she did it going forward in here when she won that race, and there's going to be other speed to contend with, isn't there? I mean, she's not going to...
No, she's not
gonna
going to
get
be
that kind of
near.
trip.
No. I think between the 1, 2, and 4, there's going to be some pace in here.
Birdie Takes Charge, even though she didn't win, I don't think she can beat My Main Squeeze,
super last
who's
time.
better. That was a huge... She did not give in or quit in that race.
If she is the horse that she was last time, she is without question the biggest threat to the favorite. But you kind of want to see it again, don't you? I mean, you got to see it again too a little bit with the favorite. She's
And at a
run some good
mile, you got
races,
to see. That was
but-
at 6.5 furlongs.
Yeah, we'll see. Looking forward to seeing these horses. I am looking for the 9th race, while Greg took the easy way out with
I took
Wanna
an easy W, and I did
your
have
fourth
4
choice? You have
selections here
fourth
too.
choice, yeah.
3, 1, 7, 5.
Oh, the
going on?
7 is your third. I don't know. They're fooling with you.
Did I
I
write
have
it
no
down
argument.
wrong?
We'll take a look at Wanna Winner while they get that. There we go. Wanna Winner's last race. I have no argument. Wanna Winner is a weak the horse to beat. And the other thing I'll say about Wanna Winner, I know he's 0 for 8, but he's never been a short price. He's never been favored, and he's never been so he's never lost a race that he was absolutely supposed to win.
It's just, and he's always been in against better. He's dropping in for this lower level the first time. He's faced Drake's Passage on a couple occasions. He's faced Neural
Face
Network.
Refua.
Look, you can knock Refua. He's run
I like
big
Refua.
figures, even though it took him forever to win, right?
I like Refua. He's second off a
this
long layoff.
horse is way. I know that it was a great setup in that race too, and didn't win.
Let me ask you a question though. Second place in the maiden race is $14,000. Are they dumping a little quickly? Second off a layoff for 30? That worries me a little
maybe.
bit. I'm committed to betting Friday. I'm in love. I like Friday. Friday in love. I'm in love. Ran a race that was competitive with these two back, and got shut off into the stretch. I think the rail was probably okay, but there is some argument. There's some questions about the rail, though the second horse was on the rail. Second horse came back also and improved the buyer figures considerably. So it might not have been a great rail. And I really liked this horse last time, and he completely and totally blew the break, and then was outrun by a fast horse who was able to wire the field. Assuming this horse gets out of the gate,
That's a big
he
assumption.
may not win. He will be in front.
That is a large
This
assumption.
is a fast horse.
I agree
He's
with
got to
you.
get a mile. He's dropping down. I lost on him last time. I'm losing on one more time today at price.
That last start, maybe you can't fault him, but every single time he's broken out of the gate, he's had issues. Not
He needs to
necessarily his
break.
own.
Jeremiah, do you hear this? You've got, what time is this race going? He's got like 4.5 hours. He needs to break better.
Take him to Wesley Wirtz Farm real quick, get a few runs out of the gate.
Got to break today, Jeremiah. You too, Jose. So I'm giving him one chance.
Watch Hill real quick. What'd you think?
I don't like Watch Hill.
Okay.
I didn't really like him last time, to be honest. I don't know. I'll put it this way. Isn't Wanna Winner just better than he is?
Yes.
I mean, he can win if Wanna Winner completely fails to show up. Good Reunion is kind of the other horse, right? Off
Yeah.
the claim for Linda. I don't like this horse, but off the claim for Linda, I have to respect him.
Second at this level last start, beat at 3-5, but Linda first off the claim. Yeah, I'm with you. I think Wanna Winner is the most likely winner on the card. Second most. Second most.
Behind the horse in the 8th, you
Yeah.
think? Yeah. I'm not against Wanna Winner by any stretch of the imagination. I agree, and I don't think you're going to get 2-1 on him. I'm a little worried about the decent second off the layoff, and then, in other words, it takes you 7.5
not a
months
great
to get
sign,
back to
yeah.
the race, and then
It is strange.
Michelle's like, okay, I'm just going to drop him. Now, I'm not saying he's going to get claimed, but
And it was a 3-5 Pletcher favorite who won that race, who actually ran decent
Right.
in a state bred A other than next time out. So yeah, it is strange.
it's got
Why?
a little bit of an odor to
Yeah,
it. That's
I
all.
agree.
And when you combine it with the layoff, he'll probably win this race. I love Michelle. I think she's great. But I got to lose money on Friday. I'm in love one more time.
Okay.
I promise this will be the last time. Next time will be in a sprint and a cheap claimer.
the
And he can't
Smiths?
lose. Is that the Smiths? When I
look
hear
it
the
up.
Smiths, I always think of 500 Days of Summer. Do you like that movie?
Great movie.
I
Yeah.
love that movie.
Yeah.
The Smiths, anyway. All right. Oh, somebody got mad because I mentioned a French movie. Do you ever see Diva? I'm going to start having a
No.
French movie period on the show every day. Just
Do I
because
need to put it on my list?
Annoys one of my biggest fan. Gets annoyed when I talk about French movies. Yeah. You ever see the movie Diva? You never saw Diva?
No, so I put it on my list.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
Diva's a great movie. You guys have seen it.
Thriller, crime.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It's from the early 80s, I think. It's great. Pretty well-known movie, actually. All right, we're done. I waited until we were done. We will be on America's Day of the Races, though, Greg and I. I'll be on until 5:30, and then Richie will be joining you, and a little Sunland Derby. Little action at
Yeah,
Sunland.
Derby Trail again to Ann Oaks Trail.
That's right. The Rachel Alexander winner yesterday was very impressive. Looking forward to those figs were not out, by the way, for Fairgrounds. I will put them on Twitter as soon as they come out.
For the show, also for the show, I want you to give us that figure from the horse that freaked the other day that we were shocked by.
A 99.
It was
mandatory.
a 99. Okay.
Yeah. No, I talked to Andy Beyer actually not long after, and he said it's going to probably be 99.
Okay.
They had looked at it. I thought it would be about a 105, but 99. Still, a little tough to reconcile. That was mandatory in the last race. Won by 12 3/4. Yeah, amazing. Head over to Naira Bets. If you're not a member of Naira Bets, no better time than the present. Use the promo code MATCH200. We'll match with $200 of your initial deposit. Middle pick 4, race 3, 2, 3, and 6 for the pick 4s today. Let's see what else we have today. The cross-country Big 5, race 7 and 8 here. Then we have the Sunland Oaks, race 7 there. That was fast. Oaklawn and Sunland. Wow. Track stats, they're in a hurry. Track stats, head over to Naira Bets. Track stats. What do we got? Oh, we got the $5,000 hit and split. $2,500 each. Late pick 3 here. Late pick 3 at Oaklawn as well. And then we've got the 11% bonus for the 11th state on the Mattie May today, the 8th race today. And last but not least, America's Day at the Races, 3 to 6:30 on FS2. Greg, thanks so much. Greg and I will be starting out on FS2 a little bit later today. Have a great day. Chris Griffin, just getting started. Take care.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.